precisely when you need it most. That's been a theme of my life. Well, honestly, my whole life. And I remember from my earliest days in church or at school, I would be going through something difficult and I didn't know how to overcome it. And I guess I was focused on the wrong thing. I was focused on the problem itself. And but then just when I need it, not a moment before and never ever too late, the solution presented itself. The answer turned up. The message that I needed to hear showed up. The friend that I needed at the time, the teacher that I needed came into my life at precisely the right moment. And I never put two and two together that this was happening intentionally, that I was calling it to me, that God was sending it to me because he knew I needed it. But nevertheless, I was aware of it at some level. And it was probably never clearer than when I was in a difficult situation and I was pleading to God to send me the solution. And the minister would hop up on a Sunday and start preaching about precisely what I needed to overcome the problem, the comforting words, the guidance, the wisdom. So that's been happening my whole life. And now, with the advent of different learning techniques, I've been able to help overcome my disadvantages, my lifelong disadvantages that I've had of ADHD and dyslexia through utilizing learning methods of Audible, of podcasts, and most particularly YouTube. YouTube is the greatest gift in my life. I have learnt so much from YouTube. The first thing that I really um, benefited from YouTube was setting up my current business, a cleaning business. I had no idea how to do the tasks involved in the business. I had no idea which tasks I wanted to do, but YouTube started pushing the content to me that I needed to help me get the business going, that I needed to know how to run the business at precisely the right time. It was pushing the content to me. And I know I'm not silly. There is an algorithm that helps identify what I'm interested in and wanting to learn, but it has changed my life. Now, I have to tell you a couple of stories because my name's the Hope Coach. So I am here to give you hope. And this week, and this is not unusual, this week was a very difficult week. I had a 2 month period where my bank account is just going down, down, down. I'm paying all my bills, I'm paying all my wages, I'm paying for everything that I need to pay for. But people, for some reason, are not paying me. And so, and I don't understand that. Why would you have work done for you and not pay for it? It's despicable. But just this week, my bank account was well under $1,000. Now, my wages for this week were a little lower than usual, but there was still no way that I was going to be able to pay my staff. And right up until Thursday night, when I went to sleep, I knew I had a problem. I just wasn't, there was no way I could pay my staff. And so my practice when something is impossible for me is to give it to God. And so I said, God, I trust you. God, I know you are sending the solution to me. This is something that I'm not able to overcome in my own strength. It's something impossible for me, but I know it's possible for you. And with that, I went to sleep. I had a very sound sleep, which is unusual, but I didn't have any worries. I didn't have any concerns. I didn't have anxiety. And that was a beautiful thing because I have a lot of anxiety typically. That next morning, I woke up and sure enough, the wages bill was sent to me by email from my bookkeeper, $3,501. I looked at the bank account, $588. You see the problem I've got there? So I said, God, I still trust you. I know you are doing great things for me. I know you're working away in the background, ensuring that everything's okay. At 4:38 yesterday, I received several notifications on my phone, and I don't know how this is possible, but $3,501 came into my account precisely, precisely when I needed it. The exact amount that I needed to pay the wages. The relief I felt was epic. The thanks to God that I felt was incredible. So I give all glory and praise to him always. But then something I didn't tell you, I didn't I expect great things from God. So I didn't just pray for the exact amount to come into my account. This is Red Dog. I pr- I said, God, I know you're capable of much more than just a paltry amount like that. So I'm praying for abundance. I'm praying for excess. I'm expecting overflow. And shortly after the $3,501 came in, so much more money came in. And I've got enough to pay wages for next week. So everything that we do in this coming week, I'll be doing a job later today. Everything we do in this coming week is going to be a blessing. It's going to be cream. And after 2 months of having no income for myself, for my family, I'll be able to start paying us again. I'll be able to start rewarding us again. And so, what, what am I saying to you? If you're watching this, and thank you for watching, I'm, I'm not saying these things to brag about me. I'm not saying these things as a flex. I'm saying these things to brag about God, but I'm saying these things also to help you, to give you hope, to tell you that when times are tough, when things seem impossible, when you know for a fact you're in trouble, give it to God. Even if you don't believe in him, give it to God. Even if you don't have a relationship with him right now, give it to God. Because whether we understand it or not, this is factual. He works in ways that we cannot comprehend, and he's capable of the impossible. Whatever is impossible for us is so possible for him. I know this because it's happened over and over again in my life. And I'd love to give you another example. In 2019, I had a cafe and a restaurant, and everything was going wrong. In fact, it started in 2018. I'd fallen off a ladder from 2 stories high, and I'd broken 26 bones, and my body was ruined. And I couldn't operate the restaurant for 6 months, and I was going to lose everything. But I was trapped because I'd invested so much money that I couldn't get out of the restaurant. I was like a gambler, a hopelessly addicted gambler, chasing chasing the next win in the hopes that it would become successful. And when you're chasing the next win, you're literally taking a shovel and digging the hole deeper. Every time money comes in, it goes straight back out and then some. And that's what my life was at that time. But the problem was, for 6 months, there was not anything coming in. I had to sell all of my assets. I lost so much during that time. And the biggest problem actually was that I was trying to solve everything myself. I was trying so hard to fix everything myself. And I used up all of my favors with all of my friends and family. They gave so much to me because they knew that it meant so much to me. And to this day, because of those times, I've destroyed friendships, I've destroyed family, friendships, and connections. And I feel this a deep sadness because of that. But when I realized I had tried everything in my own strength, I happened to turn on the radio, and weirdly, a Joel Osteen sermon was on. I'd never heard this before. I'd never tuned into a Joel Osteen radio sermon before. And he was talking about the exact situation that I was going through, where I had tried to do everything myself and failed, where I had tried to do everything in my own strength and failed, where I had refused to admit defeat and caused much deeper wounds, scars, trauma, because I was trying to do it myself. But it didn't stop there. And this is where it becomes beautiful. Joel Osteen then said, give it to God, because whatever is impossible for you is possible for him. And so I stopped at that exact moment, and I realized this was God pushing the solution into my face. And I gave it to God. And at that moment, that exact moment, a man walked in and said, "This place is awesome. I'm looking for work. I'm a chef." And it turns out he was an American barbecue specialist. And I'd been wanting an American barbecue specialist to come into my life. But I live in Australia and there's really not many around. And then something else spectacular happened, something else impossible. And about 5 hours later, another person walked in. And by the way, we were closed. So this is also impossible. Why would they come in when we're closed? We've been closed for months because of my accident. And so this other person 5 hours later walks in and said, "I'm a Mexican chef." Well, that's the other part of the story. I'd been hoping a Mexican chef would walk in because I love the idea of American barbecue fused with Mexican side dishes. And so I said to both of them, "This is my idea. Would you be part of it? And I can't pay you a great salary, but I will give you a percentage of the business. Give." So, on top of a low salary and a profit share, we were in business and I had the dream restaurant and it was very successful for a restaurant, but it never made money. And when COVID came along, I was out. But the point of the story is God, at the exact right time, sent the right people to help me. It's such a beautiful thing. And I've got 100 other stories that I can tell you, but would you go into the comments and tell me, give me hope of times when these things have happened to you? Would you go into the comments and help the community see that there is hope, that at the exact right time, not before, it's not in our time, it's when God knows that you really need it, that it's the best time for you. You see, I wouldn't be doing these lives, I wouldn't be making these videos, I wouldn't be the hope coach if I wasn't tested. I wouldn't be the hope coach if I hadn't been through the, the terrible situations that I've been through, if I hadn't have lost everything, if I hadn't have fallen off that two-story ladder, if I hadn't have lost a house, if I hadn't have had $38,000 stolen to me by another chef, if I hadn't have had $8,000 stolen out of my bank account by an employee of my cleaning business when he borrowed my credit card. You see, I wouldn't be here talking to you now if I if God hadn't have set me up to be the person who right now can talk to you, can give you solid examples, can tell you about my life. If if I hadn't have done those things, then I wouldn't be the person to be talking to you. But because I am that person, because of my life, I have the joy now of giving you hope. And you have your own stories. If you search the memory bank, you have your own stories where you can put them down in the comments and give somebody who might be on the edge, sitting on the edge of that bridge and thinking there is no hope. Would you please go to the comments and be that beautiful angel? Tell that person there is hope. Do it right now. Go to the comments and tell that person, hold on, hold on one more day, hold on another day, because the answer, the solution to that problem that is impossible for you to solve is coming to you. Just hold on, because at the right time, God will show up mightily for you and give you the hope to go on, give you the tools, the strength, the courage. He will surround you with the right people. He will surround you with everything you need to have a joyous, successful life. I know this because He's doing it for me. He's done it for me. He will continue to do it because He is faithful. So go to the comments and tell me your story. I'll read every one of them. I'll love them. I'll reply to you. I'll broadcast the joy of where you are now, and I'll celebrate the strength that you've had to overcome, whatever it is that you've had to overcome. But give people hope right now by telling them your story. Share the love, be an inspiration. It doesn't take much. All I've done is hit record on my phone, hit live, and I'm just telling people what I've been through. And it's not to boost my ego, that's for sure. It doesn't do that. In fact, doing this is pretty traumatic because I'm healing back the trauma and I'm revealing the struggles that I've had and the struggles that I continue to have. How embarrassing to be a business owner and have $588 in your bank account, not enough to pay any bills, not enough to pay wages for your beautiful staff. It's humiliating doing this, but I'm doing this because I love you. I'm doing this because I care deeply for you. I'm doing this because I need to give you hope. You are here right now because you need this message of hope. And I'm telling you, if you're focused on the problem, it will become bigger and bigger. It's like if you're focusing on the problem, I'm literally handing you the shovel. You're standing in the hole and you're digging a deeper hole. But when you give it to God, you're handing me back that shovel and you're saying, David, I'm done. God's got this. I'll see you up on the surface. That's the analogy that just popped into my mind. And I know that it's true because I've lived it over and over. I've lived in that hole for far too long. I've got blisters and calluses on my hands from digging with that shovel. And the delight I had when I gave that shovel to God to do what I couldn't do is immeasurable. So give God that shovel or give it to me. I'm here to help you, and so is He. Be a light to the world. It's as simple as typing into the comments a story that will give others hope. Don't think about the sadness of that story. Think about the triumph of overcoming that impossible situation. Think about the joy you had and perhaps still have, knowing that you've overcome the impossible and that you didn't do it yourself. You had the assistance of the Almighty. Be proud that you've survived walking through that fire pit, that you've escaped the darkness, that the trauma is literally peeling off you now. It's a therapeutic thing to do this, to reveal to the world the difficulties that you've been able to overcome. But it's so good for you. It's so good. So do that. Don't do it for me. Do it for yourself and do it for the next person that you will be helping. Pay it forward. I love you guys. I'm here for you. I'm praying for you. If you have any topics that you want me to assist with, that you want to reach out to me and ask me to talk to them, that you think might help the community, please put it in the comments. I read all of them. I literally pray for you guys every night, and I'm praying the best for you. I'm hoping the best for you. I'm trying to put the best content I can out for you. I'm investing this time because I love you. Please have a blessed day. Thanks for listening.